Hey, Mark, I got inspired by your song at the live show, and I made a theme song for us. Festive fans, festive all the way. Oh, what fun it is to listen to our podcast every day. What do you think?
Festive foreign fans, listening on your walks and in your cars. We are just the hosts, but you're the real star. And every month it's new. We do it all just for you.
Show off? The following podcast contains graphic descriptions of international celebrating and global merrymaking. It may not be suitable for angry or unhappy audience members. Listener discretion is advised. You've been warned.
Have you ever seen any of those foreign films? I don't like them.
Some are born great, others achieve greatness, and some watch Christmas movies.
We are the wild and crazy guys.
Well, they're both festive, aren't they?
Joyeux Noel!
And we are the festive foreign film fans. Well, hey, Mark.
Bob, why do you have those sunglasses on?
Mark, I'm sorry. I went to a soothsayer the other day, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me to beware the eyes of Mark. So I'm not supposed to look at you.
Set her before me. Let me see his face.
Ooh, that sounds very Shakespearean.
I think what you mean, Bob, the Ides of March.
Oh, the Ides of March. Not the Eyes of Mark? I guess that makes more sense. What are the Ides of March?
Well, Mr. Baker, since you asked, the Ides of March were the midpoint of this month in the Roman calendar, and it was marked by the rise of a full moon. The word Ides comes from the Latin word adue, which means to divide. Martus, or March 15th.
Oh.
In pre-Christian Rome, the Ides of March actually was a day to honor Jupiter, the protector of Rome. It was a celebration.
Oh.
Roman calendar begins in the month of March, so the new year was a cause for celebration and partying that would last until the Ides of March. So think about it. Those nutty Romans were partying for 15 days. Can you imagine the hangover?
Oh my gosh, but why am I supposed to avoid that? That sounds awesome.
Something interesting happened in 44 BC, Bob. This is the date that became notorious as the day Julius Caesar was assassinated. It became a turning point in Roman history. Of course, it was immortalized in Julius Caesar, the Shakespearean play, which contained the warning given by Brutus, beware the Ides of March.
Are you sure it's not the Eyes of Mark?
What you would see through the Eyes of Mark would be a lot scarier. The Ides of March now become symbolized misfortune and doom and betrayal. Even Homer Simpson proclaimed himself a god as a part of the ancient stonecutter society. And Lisa warned him, beware the Ides of March. Homer, of course, said no and laughs it off before his great downfall.
Oh.
And then there was a movie with Ryan Gosling and George Clooney called The Ides of March, where this idealistic Ryan Gosling is exposed to the dirty politics of George Clooney. And it sort of became about backstabbing and death and destruction.
What happened to the parties for Jupiter?
Through the eyes of Mark, I think we need to sort of return this to the bright and shiny lunar origin.
Oh.
Let's go back. Let's recreate March 15th. We don't have to have tragedy. Think about it, that we are 3 months past our new year, but not the Gregorian calendar, Bob. It's second New Year's.
Second New Year's, like second breakfast.
The Ides can be a restart, a second chance, a way to get those unfinished projects and get them finally done. What's something you just stopped halfway? Think about it. This is like a 4F redo. What made you stop? What was it? Like, what do you want to go back and restart?
Well, first off, I did not know the eyes of Mark were so magical. This is awesome. So we're going to change the eyes of the whole thing.
The whole thing.
We don't have to beware it.
Total redo.
Okay. And I can think of two things.
Okay, let's hear it.
First thing, I started a story that I've written 2/3 of. And I always say to myself, I got to finish that. I really want to finish it. And I don't do it. So you can hold me to, like, at some point in one of the future episodes, go, hey, how's that story coming along through the eyes of Mark? And the other one is, if you recall, I have a tiki bar, and our good friend Bill and I, we fixed it last year just so it could go up and down. The only problem was in doing it, which was a good thing, we damaged some things that I need to fix.
Okay.
And so that is a New Year's resolution. I have to go back and fix my tiki bar.
I am going to remind you every day at noon.
Through those sparkly, those magical eyes of Mark.
They are magical.
Do you have one?
So two thoughts that I have. One, you may be surprised at, one you may not. I do want to go back and pick up where I left off with my golf lessons. Start taking golf lessons. Was not getting any better, but it was fun taking lessons. So sort of learn the game, appreciate the game even more. I just sort of stopped, said I was going to go back. And so I'm hoping to pick that up this spring.
Listeners, he's really good, though, at golf.
No. And the other one is, I actually wish I could go back and redo retirement. So I know it's been less than a year.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one.
Yeah, well, it's now been almost a year that I'm coming up on, and
you want all the parties again?
Yeah, those parties are fun. No, I think I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was, and so I think I took from a standpoint of I didn't dive right in, have things to do, and I feel like if I would do it again, I've talked to a couple of my buddies who are right on the cusp, a good friend's going to retire in June, and I said, make sure you start executing. Like, I just chilled for like 90 days, which is okay to do. But in retrospect, I would redo my retirement and sort of dive into a few things quicker. I guess I can grant myself things through the eyes of Mark. I can grant them to you, but I don't know if I can grant them to myself.
Of course you can. Embrace the eyes of Mark. That's the new statement.
Ooh, what a t-shirt. So now that we have our lives all organized, it's time that we hand out some prizes. Oh. If you were aware of our Festive Foreign Film Fan fun fact from the curious country of Indonesia and its iridescent lava, have we got a sticker for you? So we talked about this lava, this special lava. I said it was beer. I was wrong. But Indonesia's Quechuan volcano on the island of Java spews out blue lava with electric blue fire.
That must look so cool.
I
like
can't
at
even
night.
Imagine. Oh my gosh, so cool. The volcano has some of the highest levels of sulfur in the world. And this phenomena is caused when the sulfur is exposed to oxygen and then hit by the molten lava. It burns bright blue.
So now hearing that, I want to be quite a distance away from when I see that blue lava.
The smell must be awful. Wouldn't that be cool to see?
That would be very cool.
I mean, just sort of blow your mind of what lava should really be, right? So looking through the eyes of Mark, it's not red, it's blue. However, you won't be blue visiting our next country, right? You may be hot as we're going to go traverse the Andes and through the Amazon rainforest along an epic coastline and arrive at Peru.
Peru.
Yeah, so our film tonight is El Sistema Solar, or the solar system. But before we get into it, let's talk about the actors. Javier Valdez plays Leonardo. Javier Fernando Valdez Garado Leca. Why do people have so many names?
I know, it's so funny.
You know what? From now on, I'd like you to call me by Mark Joseph Matthew Chandler. I need one more name, but that's all I have.
Can I call you Mark Javier Fernando Valdez Garado Leca?
Okay. He's a Peruvian actor and a theater director. He had his first appearance on television as a teenager and later traveled to Spain to continue his training. He's made several appearances on soap operas, which is kind of a reoccurring thing, yes, I feel like. Yeah. Like soap operas is this launching pad, but he also teaches acting workshops. Oh. Cesar Ritter plays Pavel. His real name is Cesar Ernesto Rita Berga. He's also a Peruvian actor, mostly known for his television work and some series works that he's done. He's also been involved in casting and directing a number of television shows as well.
A lot of TV work.
Yeah, a lot of TV work. Yep. And then Gisela Ponce de Leon Franco is a Peruvian actress and singer.
Bob Baker sounds really boring right now.
Right. Why do they have all these names? I mean, I guess it could be a middle name. It could be a baptismal name. I don't know. Anyway, but Gisela began working as a child actor on the musical Annie, and she also played Sophia in the musical Mamma Mia. She is a very gifted singer.
Yeah.
She also participated in the El Gran Show, which was a reality show where she took first place. She has actually, she's open for the act Paramore
Wow.
in South America, so she's pretty legit.
Yeah.
And she's also been a DJ and a TV host as well.
So I really liked her song in the movie.
She's got a really sweet voice. In fact, I wish her voice was highlighted a little bit more.
Yeah. I thought she would sing it live, and she didn't.
So did I.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the song dedicated to her grandfather?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the solar system.
The Christmas fairies worked good magic again this time to ensure that you got this film because, I mean, I understand it, but some of it, there must be messages or whatever that went way over my head. And it's the solar system, so it's Christmas in outer space, right?
It is. She is. And Dorne is really an astronaut.
Yeah.
And Leonardo's like really an alien.
Want to watch a Christmas movie?
Christmas movies are our bread and butter.
We eat Chinese food and watch Christmas movies.
I heard it's the best Christmas movie since Home Alone.
This movie it's about relationships, right? There's a dad, there's a son, there's a daughter, a fiance, a grandson. There's mistrust, manipulation, there's old baggage, there's death, there's pregnancies, there's biting turtles. But mostly there's reconnection. Doesn't this sound like a Christmas movie so far?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it does, absolutely. But Leonardo, he's the father to Pavel and Dorne and the grandfather to Pule. Pavel is the father of Pule, and then Inez is the fiance of Leonardo. I might, after I give you sort of the starting of part of the movie, I might go into each character a little bit and then hopefully bring it back together at the end. But the movie starts as at Andorne's house. She's hosting Christmas Eve. Pule's teaching her about the solar system and drawing a picture. They appear to be really close and that they live together. Pavel, Pule's dad and Dorne's brother, comes home and says, is he coming to the festivities tonight? And she said, they're coming. And Pavel just doesn't make any sound or anything and just goes over and starts drinking wine.
Yeah.
Glass,
Like,
glass
oh my
after
God.
glass. Gulping glass.
Gulping it down, yeah.
Yeah. And so Leonardo, the dad, shows up, and I'd say he's probably in his mid-50s. Pretty handsome guy for his age, but his girlfriend is probably in her mid-30s,
Yeah.
maybe even young 30s. And Pule, being a young kid, probably around 10 or 11, he looks at his dad, Pavel, and says, is that the girl who used to come over and play guitar with you? And it's like, boom, right from the beginning here. The dad is dating the ex-girlfriend of his sons. Then I try to think about, would my dad ever have dated Sue when we were in high school? Probably not.
Could you imagine that, though?
I mean, how awkward is that? And it's funny because when he originally reacted to, are they coming? I thought, well, maybe it's a stepmom.
Right.
Or some other
You
disgruntled
never
relative.
expected it to be his ex-girlfriend. I kind of found Inez endearing. She managed it pretty well, the drama.
She did. Turns out, though, that the whole family has been apart for about 2 years. In fact, it was like 2 years ago, Pule's birthday party, they were together. Or as Pavel said, yeah, it was about 2 years ago, right after you stole my girlfriend, Dad. So it's Christmas Eve. They're getting together. There's immediate tension in the house because of Inez showing up. And Dorne and her dad both start to say, hey, I want to tell you something. They say to each other at the same time. And the dad goes, well, you go first. And so Dorne drops the bomb, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I'd like an advance on my inheritance. And the dad's like, you're pregnant. Have you checked with your psychiatrist? And so all of a sudden we're starting to hear maybe there was attempted suicide in the past. So he tells her he's concerned about this, wants to know about the dad and who is the dad. And she's like, yeah, I really don't know the dad. It's really a one night stand. But it's really from this point, the movie starts to kind of get into the interplay of these different characters. And so after Dorne reveals her update, it turns out that he's dying. She's sharing she's pregnant. He's sharing he's dying. So Pule, I think he really does love his grandfather very much, but he's upset with him because he had just recently wrote a play and the grandfather didn't come and see it performed. So the grandfather's like, well, what was the play about? And he goes, well, the play was about this king named Leonardo and he decapitated everyone. And the grandfather's like, is that really what you think of him? Pule kind of confronts him about Inez and says, like, that's wrong. Like, why are you dating my dad's ex-girlfriend? And he's like, oh, it's complicated. Relationships are complicated. And Pule's like, no, it's really not that complicated, right? There is right and wrong. And Leonardo says to Pule, if you had to choose between the dog or the turtle, which one would you save? And Pule's like, well, it's easy. The dog is mine. I would save the dog.
Yeah. I'd be obligated to say yes.
Yeah. So I thought it was just really interesting how he sort of, this is not great.
His childhood innocence was like cutting through all of this. Yeah.
Yep. And Dorne's pregnant. Leonardo is dying. And then Inez mentions, oh, hey, we're getting married.
Yeah.
Right. Which immediately Pavel and Dorne is like, oh, you want his money.
You want his money. Yeah.
But she's like, nope, we have a prenup. That's not why we're getting married. But they're still a little skeptical about that. And then also later on, too, she tells us that she has no family. Right. And so she's here. She's watching all of this. And I wouldn't say she's loving it, but she sort of has this different perspective of, you have someone to argue with. You have this family around you.
She's almost like, this is what makes a family.
This is what makes a family, yeah.
Even though she's like, you all hate each other, but you still get together.
Exactly. The father sort of keeps pushing Endorne for more information. She wants to know, who is this guy? Are you mentally fit to actually do this? And Endorne sort of has this big meltdown. She rants and rages, she screams and starts yelling, and really sort of the truth starts to come out, where she talks about being on a multi-day binge, sobering up and then getting drunk again. And then she admits that she had sex with a one-eyed bald man. That's who the father is. And that at the end of this binge and having sex with the guy, she was walking down the street and she was really going to kill herself. But then she heard a voice say, but you don't know what she said, and sort of goes into this anxiety attack. And she even kind of blames the dad. You're just dying to ruin my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which he points back out to her like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's my fault, right? Yeah, that I'm dying. But Inez sort of jumps in and says, hey, look, you're so lucky, right? I mean, this was supposed to be, this is like a family meeting. Your dad's admitted he wasn't really the greatest dad or the greatest grandfather. He's sort of putting his heart out on the line. And so, like, why do you guys continue to do this? And then after this big blow up about the one-eyed bald man becoming the father, Leonardo goes outside. And Inez even says, Leonardo, go out and talk to Pule. You mean a lot to him. He saw some heavy shit tonight. Go and comfort him. Which, again, I think she's my favorite character in this movie. He starts to talk to Pule. They discuss the solar system, which it sounds like both Pule and the grandfather are really into the solar system and the stars. He even tries to say, Grandpa, what's that star right there? He's, oh, you're tricking me. That's really Venus. And so there's this great thing. Pule asks him, like, do you believe in God? And Leonardo said, well, it's an interesting question for someone who's in my predicament, right?
Yeah.
They come back in after having this scene outside, and they share, the dad says, look, I have this great idea. All 5 of us are going to go to the Galapagos Islands, and we're going to look at turtles. Dorne and Pavel are immediately like, yeah, not me. We're not going.
If it's anything like tonight, no.
And the dad's like, I am not going to leave this earth just being some guy who's dying. I'm going to fight for my life. I'm going to have fun. I want to be with my grandson. I want to be with Inez and everybody. He goes, I'm going to leave a flag on the moon. And when he says that, and Dorne says, why did you say that phrase? And he's like, I'm going to live my life the way it is. And, she sort of has this reaction to the phrase, which in my mind led to me to believe that's what she heard someone say when she was having her meltdown, when she was about to kill herself. And she says, I heard a phrase and made me stop from killing myself. What I interpret in movies is that she heard someone say, leave a flag on the moon.
I totally didn't pick that up if that were the case. But that makes sense to me now, because you always wonder that question was left in the air.
And, that phrase, let's spend a minute on, like, leave a flag on the moon, right? Comes from when we landed on the moon in 1969, right? Planting a flag. But, doing a little research on it, it sounds like it's sort of come to mean live your life to the fullest. Like, get to the moon and plant a flag.
Or kind of be ambitious.
Be ambitious. Claim your territory. Claim your life.
But to your point, live your life.
Live your life for fun.
Yeah.
it's sort of that the movie starts to turn a little bit because the father has said something that connects to Adorne. But midnight comes. Chaos isn't over yet. Santa Claus comes. I think calls Pablo or something like that. He gives out presents to Pavel and to Adorne and to Puli. Puli gets a gun. I don't remember what Pavel got, but the book the Santa gave to Adorne was a book called Source of Success.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, thanks, Dad, right?
I thought the adults acted like bratty children. The adult children.
A little bit, yeah. But anyway, so just as things were starting to get good, they start to sort of go back, south again. Finally, Adorne admits the money that you've been paying for my psychiatry work really has been going to pay for insemination. All those things about the bald one-eyed guy turns out not to be true. And Adorne said, well, they're expensive. You're right. That's about how much it costs, about $900 a month. And she's like, well, how do you know that? And Inez says, well, I've been trying to get pregnant by via insemination as well, which immediately turns, so you money, the inheritance, right? But it turns out after several times of trying, they have not been pregnant. So Leonardo and Adorne are talking. Pavel pulls Inez aside and tries to kind of go back at her one more time, wants to reconnect with her, wants to get like, don't marry him, marry me, I'll marry you tomorrow. And she's just like, I love Leonardo. I love your dad. He gives me purpose. He gives me a connection. Getting married to him, I'll have something even when he dies. I would have had a family, including you. And so as much as that would have been sort of a different ending to the movie, she claims her love for the father. Adorne kind of continues sort of press her dad about the lack of affection they had in their family and as they were growing up. And Leonardo says, like, you really need to know something about your grandfather. Like, he read a book when I was growing up about raising children. And in that book, he followed it to the T, and it was, don't show affection to your children. So when you were born and I saw you get all that affection and love from my father, it angered me. And she sort of like scoffs that off. She goes, your grandfather was an alcoholic and abusive to me and to your mother and to your grandmother. And so she starts to see her dad in a different light. And there's a great saying that Adorne tells Pule, and that's, every man has a key to heaven and every man has a key to hell. So it's sort of depending on what doors you unlock. Yeah. She is seeing that now and seeing that a little bit with her dad. But Inez comes running in because the family's sort of just sitting there. They sang Silent Night, but it's not festive. It's sort of just almost like everyone's given up.
Yeah, it's like
we're done for the night. But Inez comes running in to the room and says, oh my God, the turtle is running around outside and it's screaming, leave a flag on the moon, leave a flag on the moon. And they all rush out and they go out and they see all these fireworks going, and they're sort of just all together there in the doorway watching these fireworks. And then they come back in and the movie ends with Adorne and her dad dancing a very nice song together.
Dancing to her song.
Didn't
you want to see the turtle? I was like, move out of the way. I want to see the turtle running around the yard.
That was symbolism, Bob.
I know it was. I wanted to see it though.
It's funny though, because earlier in the movie when they were talking about the animals talking, I did have a little bit of that expectation. Oh, is this going to turn the pace where maybe the dog is the wise one? But no, I get it. So festive?
So here's the funny thing. Last episode, we had a movie that didn't have any, I think, element of, other than they did have a play in the church, but that was the only element of Christmas in it. In this movie, it starts out showing some beautiful scenes in Lima of Christmas decorations. They're clearly celebrating Christmas. There's a tree. Santa comes. So you would say festive.
Yep.
No, not me.
Really?
I think the brutality of or I shouldn't say brutality, the emotion, just like ripping of the Band-Aids off left and right. It was too much. It was not festive. Yeah, no. And I know it's surprising because there were sweet elements when they all sang Silent Night. But I just think only because like it starts going up, okay, things have gotten better. Boom, it goes down. It was like a dysfunctional family together. And there's a lot of Christmas movies where they do that. And that's what's good about this one as a film. They did it really well.
Yeah.
But it seemed really genuine. And the only one, my lighthouse in this movie, is Inez, who looks through all of the negativity and sees good in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It's funny, back-to-back movies where I thought it was extremely festive. I thought it was a realistic picture of what families go through.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
There's just things that hang up there and they build, and through the spirit of maybe magic of Christmas, things get resolved.
Yeah, it was just too raw. I think too raw. It's interesting how we're different. And I was like, gosh, if I could see that turtle racing around, and if that really happened, even though it didn't, I'm like, maybe that would make me feel better.
I felt way more stress and tension with the last movie review. Yeah. This one certainly had tense moments, but I just felt like, wow, this family is really struggling. And I didn't necessarily expect, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a happy ending. Mm-hmm. It ends more peacefully than it began. I kind of enjoyed the path they went. And again, to your point, Inez brings it together.
Yeah.
She's a very tender, sweet person. Probably of everybody there, the one who's emotionally the most mature person.
Yes. Here's the funny thing. I said the last film was festive, and I don't think I'd watch it again. I would watch this film. I liked the film. I think it was too realistic. They did a good job because I really think they showed like all the pains and the struggles that this family was experiencing.
Would you recommend it to someone?
Yeah. See, this is the funny thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was festive, but there were elements of it that I really enjoyed. I loved some of the interaction with the son, with all of the adults, especially when they all went outside, when Inez went outside and spoke to him, when the grandfather went outside. A lot of it was looking at it through his eyes. So I would recommend it. And I actually thought it was a pretty good depiction of what things are like in Peru. I mean, we'll talk about customs, and we saw one of them fully on display.
Absolutely. Yeah. Two of them, I think. Okay, so how about we learn how to say Merry Christmas in Peru?
Yes. I think they said it a couple times. Isn't it Feliz Navidad? Yeah.
Well, Bob, through the eyes of Mark, we would just say Feliz Navidad, but actually we're going to
work some magic,
and we're actually going to learn how to say it in Quechua. So Quechua is one of the native languages of Peru.
Oh.
And so to say it in Quechua, Merry Christmas would be Pakareku Asharami. This is the Christmas greeting in the native language of the Incas, which is one of the official languages in Peru. It may have been the primary language of the Inca Empire, but it's still spoken a little bit today. So it's not the most prominent language. Spanish is. The language is found in the highlands region of the Andes Mountains. Quechua originated in Peru, then spread to the other countries of the Andes. It's estimated that about 14%, or about almost 4 million Peruvians, can speak Quechua. So it's not a small number, but it's not a prominent one.
So here I thought, when you're going to say, how do you say it in Peru? I was going to go, I know, I can say it. And here you hit me with Quechua, and what the heck? Salami? What was that?
Salami.
You know what else was kind of funny? And we've probably seen it in some of the other Spanish films, but I did notice it here. I am used to hearing Feliz Navidad as a song. It was interesting, like people would walk in and people go, oh, Feliz Navidad. Like they just say it as, like we'd say Merry Christmas. And I was like, oh yeah, people really just say it. It's not a song.
It's not just a song.
Yeah.
Yep. Should we talk about some of the traditions?
Oh, I'd love to.
They're very excited. There's no snow, summer there, but it doesn't necessarily prevent anybody from wearing a Santa hat in 90-degree weather. In fact, the traditional drink for the holidays is hot chocolate, which Peruvians gladly...
Wait, it's summer there.
I know. They gladly drink it even when it's 80 degrees. The hot chocolate is made from a melted chocolate bar with milk and cinnamon and cloves added. This chocolate is from Cusco, made from cacao grown in the Cusco Valley.
So that's also a tie why they drink it.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, that's right. The Cusco Valley is also home to the chuncho, which is a rare variety of cocoa bean. They usually drink hot chocolate only during the Christmas season. So it's not like they drink it all year long, even though they have these beans. But one thing, and we saw this in tonight's film, in Peru, everything happens on Christmas Eve. Before Christmas dinner, the families go to church to celebrate the service as Mass of the Rooster. In the ceremony, people take their own images of Christ child to place in the manger, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, I do too.
About 9 o'clock, though, families gather for the Christmas dinner with pavo navideño, which translates to Christmas turkey, which is stuffed with a flavorful mixture of things like fruits and spices, ground pork.
Now, I would vote for that because I'm not a big turkey fan. But if we could stuff it with like
pork and stuff,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you and turkey. But it's accompanied by applesauce and Russian salad, which is made with beets and mayo and boiled potatoes and peas and carrots. At midnight, everyone stops eating, cheers with champagne and hugs, wishing everyone Merry Christmas. And then they go outside to see the fireworks, which we saw tonight. A lot of fireworks.
Right.
Afterwards, the kids will run to by the Christmas tree to get their presents, which again, we saw Santa Claus come right after midnight.
Yeah. Which is crazy. It's late. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
The average Christmas meal in Peru is usually a mix of traditions from Peru and other countries. So along with the Christmas turkey, dinner may also include tamales, panettone, which is really similar to the Italian panettone, we've heard about on our episodes in Italy.
Oh, okay. Because when you're saying panettone, I was thinking, wait, isn't there panettone? Okay.
Yeah. Same thing. But if you recall, it's a very sweet cake shaped like a dome. Comes with raisins and dried fruit, but sometimes does have chocolate. Panettone was created in Milan, and as Italian immigrants brought it to Peru. So they took this panettone and sort of made it their own and called it panettone. It's full of fat and sugar, but Peruvians still love to spread butter on it. Why not? They also like to eat it with soda and, of course, hot chocolate. But given the amount of grease and sugar consumed, public health organizers have warnings about the danger of overeating panettone during the holiday season.
This is almost the first time I could think of where a country borrowed another country's tradition and they kind of have made it their own. And I love this, that it's like, oh yeah, what can we do with this really heavy sugar laden thing? Let's put butter on it. Let's drink it with hot chocolate.
Yeah. Peruvians take fireworks to another level on Christmas Eve, as we saw, in tonight's movie, where most fireworks displays are carefully prepared and controlled. In Peru, they're not. The markets and streets turn into fireworks shops. Everyone goes crazy buying fireworks. You don't need a license to light them off. These cohetes, which is Spanish for rockets, are bought by the thousands and let off in the streets. And so the streets fill with smoke. On Christmas Eve, you can hear fireworks slowly increasing as the day progresses and louder into the night. The tradition is to light them at midnight, and it's estimated that about 10 million people are lighting at the same time in Lima and all around the other cities and villages. So you think about it, midnight, everyone's lighting off these fireworks.
And our description here can't do it justice. Look at some of the videos online. They do the professional, they're shooting them off, and it's everywhere. They're just like going off. They're not lying. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah. You know what? We should look up the statistics on injuries.
I know.
That's a different show. That's why I want to take first aid. Remember I told you this year?
Are you going down there for Christmas, Peru?
I don't know. But you buying? So anyway. Bob, you know what I want to do for our second anniversary?
What's that?
Take the night off.
What do you mean?
We want to hear from our listeners. We'd love to have you on our show. Record a message or send a note and we'll read it out loud. Share a story with us. Did you ever spend Christmas in a foreign country? Is there a place you dream of visiting? What world customs do you still practice and are passing on to your kids?
Or is there a favorite 4F episode that you like? Or maybe a favorite intro bit? Have you watched one of our movies or added one of our foreign Christmas songs to your holiday song rotation?
We love top 5 lists. Tell us your top 5 Christmas baddies, top 5 countries we haven't covered, or your top favorite Christmas foods, because we love food on this show.
Did you like our live show? Should we do more? What should we do differently? Whatever you want to comment on, you send it to festivefans@gmail.com. We'll put it on our show, and you'll be super popular with all those festive foreign film watchers. The ones who speak English and listen to podcasts about Christmas. Yeah, you'll just be popular with us. Yay! Send it in now. Our anniversary show is June 6th.
If we use your feedback on the show, we will announce your name and send you a special sticker set that includes our sponsors. Send it to festivefans@gmail.com.
This calls for some Christmas music.
Yes, this Christmas music.
What kind of Christmas music is that?
The least you could do is play some Christmas music.
And now back to Christmas music.
Let's jump into some music. That'll get you up out of your chair, won't it?
It does.
Yeah. Well, this singer is Susan Ocho from Lima, Peru. She's known for blending traditional Latin rhythms and modern beats. Wepaye, Wepaye is a joyful and festive song that celebrates the birth of baby Jesus.
Which is so fun because it doesn't sound like that at all.
No.
No,
it sounds like Gloria Estefan should be singing the song. Or Jake Fontana.
Yes, Jake.
The repetition of the refrain, Wepaye, Wepaye, just means and acts as a call to celebrate and evoke participation.
I really like this song.
All right, let's move on to some trivia as we wrap up tonight.
It's trivia. Trivia.
You know, some places have such a fantastic backstory that it becomes difficult to sort of select one fact, right? And we've talked about just, the U.S. versus other countries, but this certainly is the case of Peru. With each interesting nuggets that we unfolded, we want to know more. We are just talking about the species of an orchid that grows in the Peru cloud forest and looks like a monkey's face.
Okay.
Better than the other end. Or how about the river in the Amazon rainforest that is hot enough to kill? It's 200 degrees. Where mammals, reptiles, and amphibians regularly fall in like they're boiled alive. We're not even going to talk about that, Bob. Or maybe you want to hear about the smoothie in Peru whose main ingredients is a blended frog.
No, I don't want to hear
Kermit,
about that one.
Poor Kermit. But it's said to cure asthma, bronchitis, sluggishness, and even a low libido, Bob.
Honey, I have a smoothie for you.
We also thought about the story of the avalanche triggered by an earthquake that destroyed the Peruvian town of Yungay and 10 nearby villages, killing almost 30,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
Yet 300 children survived.
How?
They were attending a circus and were rescued by a clown.
No way.
Who led them to higher ground before the town was covered in mud.
Is this Pennywise before he went in the sewer?
Despite all those tidbits of local history, instead we decided to go with food. Our favorite subject. Talk about the food. What domesticated animal is used by Peruvians in traditional cooking, of which they consume an estimated 65 million each year?
I hope it's not a dog.
In fact, the Cathedral of Cusco, Peru, there's a portrait of Jesus and his 12 apostles eating this dish known as koi, C-Y, koi, at the Last Supper. If you know what animal this is, not only will you have to eat it, but we'll also give you a sticker.
We might give you 2 if you eat it.
Or we'll give you a blended up frog.
Oh my
smoothie.
God. That's what you have to follow it with.
So let me leave you with this. This is by Norman Vincent Peale. Christmas waves a magic wand over this whole world, and behold, everything is softer and more beautiful.
And blended with frog.
I don't know,
my
Bob.
gosh. I think I'm going to have nightmares about domesticated animals and frogs being eaten.
Your puppies will not look at you the same way when you go home tonight, Bob. Or your hamsters.
Well, Mark, once again, you helped to explain a movie to me that, because I literally, the first time I finished it, I was like, what the heck was that?
So you're talking about leave a flag on the moon? That part?
Yeah.
To be honest, it was the second time I watched it. Yeah. And I didn't catch her facial recognition of the phrase.
Yeah.
And then it still didn't mean anything to me. But then I sort of got like, some people will say that as a way to sort of claim life, right? To go out and get things that you want and to sort of make your mark on the world. So
I suspect it'll be a phrase I may toss out at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes sense.
Bob, Jake, leave a flag on the moon.
You too, Mark. I'll see you up there.
Okay.
Bring the smoothies. The frog smoothies.
Actually, we're done.
Done.
It's over. It's over.
It's over, kaput, finito. It's over. It's over. It's over.
This has been a Waysound Studio production.
And sound engineering on our show is by Jake Fontana.